If you're ready to drop your learned personality and ineffective behavior and start living your God contract, and this is the agreement that your soul and God made before you were born about what you wanted to learn. If you're willing to know what that is and change your behavior and start living your God contract, then you're in the right place. I'll take you there. Good morning. This is Kathy, your healing psychic, and you're on Facebook Live, Saturday morning psychic free readings. Today's topic is pride, and the reason that it's so important in your life, or the lack of it. I'd like to welcome Candy. Hello, Candy. I see you down there. And pride is considered one of the 7 deadly sins in the Christian religion. And the reason it's considered deadly is not because you die from it, but because it's deadly to your soul purpose. It stops and prevents you from achieving your life's work and living out your God contract. So I had to go look it up because I couldn't remember them all, but there are 7 deadly sins. They are, number 1, pride, covetousness, which means to want what somebody else has, lust, anger, gluttony, envy, and sloth. And our soul comes in to learn all about life lessons, and we choose a body. We choose our parents, we choose our nationality, we choose our skin color and hair color and eyes, and we come in as babies, pure and ready for our achievements. As we get older, life happens, and it helps us to recognize that outside influences such as pride are learned behaviors. Our soul does not come into this body carrying pride with it, or covetousness, or lust, anger, gluttony, envy, or sloth. We aren't born with this. This is learned behavior. And pride, I always thought, based on what I'd heard in the media. Morning, Maureen. Welcome. What I had heard in the media was that, oh, you should be proud of your accomplishments. You should be proud that you got this job. You should be proud that you raised good children. All of those things. And here's what's missing in that statement. This pride says, I did it. The truth is, God did it through us. We are vessels for spirit to work through. It may be to help a friend. It may be to teach a child. It may be to let go of an abusive relationship. But spirit, or God, or Buddha, or the universe, or life, or whatever you call it, works through our body in order to make a difference in our world. And that's what your God contract is about. And for those of you who may not be familiar with it, you can go and order your God contract at my website, which is called agodlypsychic.com. Okay, so here we are with this perfect, pure soul living in a body for however long we're going to live, which, by the way, I do want to remind you, next week's topic is death and dying. What happens when we die? Why do we have to die? So tune in next week and we'll discuss that topic. But today's topic is pride, and I want to give you a couple of examples, my own, of how pride has hurt me. I I can remember being really young, and my learned personality, or part of my God contract most likely, was I was really friendly, and I was curious, and I was naive, and I had a lot of hope. And as I grew up, things happened around me that started to form my personality. Now, my soul came in clean and clear. It didn't come in with a personality. And pride was one of my, and it still is, I hate to admit it, pride is one of my harmful personality traits. And when we experience pain, abandonment, abuse, addiction, whatever it is, we start to build a wall. And one of the bricks in that wall is pride. And pride says, well, I don't need anybody, and if we've been abandoned, or if that person comes back into my life, they've really had it. I'm going to tell them because they hurt me. The thing is, we get sidetracked by our pride, and instead of working on our God contract, we end up overwhelmed. It's like a bubble of misery surrounds us, and it's because we can't let go of something that's hurt us deeply. Okay, so that's a background on pride, and we'll do the other 6 another time. There's plenty to learn from that. But if you are aware of a problem area in your life, maybe it's romance, maybe it's work, maybe it's retirement, maybe it's children, whatever it is, do ask your question, please, and we'll go ahead and address it. I've got my cards here. We're ready to go. And while we're on the subject of children, and I'm waiting for your first question, I will tell you how pride has affected me with my own children. I was a not perfect parent. I was an alcoholic. And I was basing my parenting skills on what I had learned from an absent father, biological father, a non-protective adopted father, and an abusive mother. So I did a terrible job. Some good things got through, I will admit. But a lot of it was really crappy stuff, and it was my fault. These were children, innocent children, and I taught them what I was taught, and it wasn't very good. But pride told me that, well, they should just get over it. I had to deal with it, so they have to deal with it, and that's life, and that's a lie. That's really a lie. So when I got sober back in 1989, pride said to me, well, all I have to do is stop drinking and everything's going to be all right. Well, that's a lie too, because there's a piece in the big book that says, glass in hand, I warped my mind. So my mind thought pride was okay, that there was nothing wrong with it. So for 8 years, I tried to stay sober, and I was still a wreck. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, a wreck. And so when I finally got a sponsor and started working the steps, I learned that pride was telling me, I don't have to go make amends to my kids. I'm their parent. My parents didn't make amends to me. Why should I say I'm sorry and I made mistakes? Hi, Gail. Welcome. Glad to have you. So, for a long time, I didn't do anything to help correct the damage I had done to my family. Pride said it was okay, and I wanted the easy way out, so I took it. Well, one day, I did finally get up the courage. My sponsor was kicking my butt. And I went to both of my children. I have two, a girl and a boy. And I apologized. I said, I know I've done damage. I'm really sorry. I have no excuse for it. And they said, okay, we forgive you. And I wasn't quite sure that was true, so I kept saying it again and again. Well, and not every week or anything, but when things didn't feel right, I would say, I'm really sorry. And finally, my daughter said, for God's sake, stop it already. Stop apologizing. Well, pride said, okay, let God do the healing work, and you've made your apologies numerous times, and be done with it. Well, what happened was a distancing. My pride had caused so much damage that my kids said, this is just too hard. I can't deal with her. I don't want to deal with her. I just want her to go away and leave us alone. And so today I have no relationship with my children or my 7 grandchildren. They live in the next state over. But this is what pride can do. And also, pride tries to step in on occasion and say, well, Kathy, you just got to go fix it. And here's the truth. We can't fix everything. We can try, but our children and grandchildren and the people we've hurt and the people who have hurt us have free will. And if they don't want to forgive us, there's nothing we can do about that except let it go, let God do whatever he does behind the scenes, and keep moving forward with our God contract. So this has been a really hard subject for me to talk about, but life is full of hard stuff. Let's talk about it. Put your questions up there, and hello again to Gail and Candy and Maureen. It's good to have you here. And if you have a psychic question, I'm going to work in the topic of pride to your question. So go ahead and put it in, put your question in. And I do see that we have another person who is live, and I'd like to welcome you. I don't know what your name is, but welcome. All right, so put your question up. Put your zodiac sign, and let's take a look at several of the signs while I'm waiting for your first question. Let's take a look at Aries and pride. Well, Aries is here to challenge you. So if you call them on your pride, they might say, you're wrong. Because Aries loves to challenge everything. And it's just debate. It doesn't necessarily mean that they believe it. It doesn't necessarily mean that they think you're wrong. They just like talking about it. Let's discuss it. You have this point of view. I have this point of view. But if you were to call them on pride, and Aries are known to be a little prideful, they would have the perfect opportunity to do what they do best, and that is to debate you and to challenge you and to be assertive and really try and get their point across. And one of the things we can try and remember about Aries is they aren't always right. None of us are. And we don't have to agree with their point of view if we don't. So having good boundaries around an Aries is important. All right, now we're going to talk about Taurus and pride. Taurus in the old children is the example in the old children's fairy tale. You know, Midas and the gold, and Taurus was always counting their money. That's a prideful act. And flipping their gold coins and hearing the sound and feeling the texture of the money in their hands, that is a prideful Taurus. On the flip side, a Taurus will say, thank you, God, for blessing me with everything I needed to make a really good living. third is Gemini. And how pride works with Gemini is I'm smarter than that. I'm smarter than you, and I will give you all kinds of 4-syllable words to show you how smart I am, because they probably grew up around somebody who told them they were stupid, and they weren't. But a Gemini pride often comes out with being brilliant. I know I got Gemini rising. It's a bad quality. The good quality is, thank you, God, that you allowed me to love to learn. And if I can help somebody and not use 4-syllable words, then good. I'm on with my God contract. And I see you, Candy. I don't see any questions yet. Okay, Cancer and pride. Cancer says, this is an example of a prideful Cancer. Cancer says, I have my family and nobody else gets in. Not the in-laws, not the neighbors, not my co-workers. This is my family. These are my children. We are a unit and we are impenetrable. Oh God, I used one of those words again. And you're not getting in. Nobody gets in and nobody matters except my wife, my husband, my children, my grandchildren, maybe. That's it. And a wonderful quality for a Cancer to set aside pride is to say, thank you, God, that you provided me with this family. There's lots of families who don't have children and want children. There's lots of families who want a spouse and don't have a spouse. So that's Cancer. And I don't know, I haven't seen any questions yet, so write your questions. And let's go on to Leo. Leo, as you know, is one of my favorites because that's my husband. And when we first met, I want to tell you, he lived up to every Leo quality you don't want to have. He also was a dry drunk, and he was working with a broken mind that alcohol and drugs had nearly destroyed. And so when I met him, he would tell me about all his accomplishments. Oh, I'm a pilot. I learned how to fly. Oh, I'm a jet mechanic in the Air Force, and I was a crew chief. And he would tell me about all his accomplishments because he grew up in a household where nothing he did got credit, and everything he did got painful results. And so I just saw that there might be a question. Cool. Okay, let me swipe back. Okay, so I'll finish up here with Gail, and then I'll look for the question. So if you wrote in a question, please write it again. Make sure it's got first name, zodiac sign, and question. And if it's about somebody else, their first name and zodiac sign. Okay, so here's Leo, and and I'm thinking, wow, this guy's so accomplished, and he knows how to sail a boat, and he's done all these wonderful things, and I'm going, God, I don't have all those accomplishments. But what I learned was there was a scared little boy inside of a man who wanted somebody to just recognize his accomplishments. And today, he is able to say, thank you, God, that you gave me the curiosity to learn how to fly a plane, and I did it. Thank you, God. It's always, this is the other side of pride, and then we're going to get to your questions. This is always the other side of pride. Thank you, God, that you gave me whatever it was. Okay, let's go to the questions. Maureen, Aries, when will I get the money to finish the remodel for my home? Ooh, You've got a little bit. I'm not sure if it's all the money you need, but you've got an opportunity for a little bit coming up in August or September. Now, we're in August already, so I'm going to say very quickly. If, let's say you're looking for $100, you're only going to get 40. Use the 40 and go again. You might have to do your remodeling in sections rather than having a big lump sum. Okay. Maureen, Aries, when will I... Oh, that's you. Gail, will I ever be able to give up pride in my more mothering skills? Aww. God, I know that one, Gail. All right, honey. Yes, you will. Can you see that card? Here's the trick for you with this card. I'm going to ask you a very serious question, and I want you to answer it at a soul level, not from your personality, from your soul level. What does it mean to love your children? And when you can answer that question, that's when you will be able to give up pride. And another thing I would really recommend is that you do a gratitude list every day. Somebody recommended I do a gratitude list several times a day, but I couldn't do it. So once a day, what are you grateful for? What are your children good at? What are you thankful to God that He gave you to be a good mother? And pride says, I made these kids and I gave them the talents that they have. No, you didn't. God did. So redirect your love for those children in gratitude and thanking God for what He gave you. And you made mistakes. We all do. Forgive yourself. Ask your children to forgive you. And then give God the credit. All right. Joyce Edinger. Joyce, honey, on this broadcast are directions for putting your question up. I'm seeing 2 different posts. I need everything in one post, and I need a specific question, please. Maureen says, thank you, I need patience. Honey, patience, I'm going to give you a little hint here, because patience is something I work on really hard. Patience, it means that we have to give other people as much time as they need to forgive us, thank us, find their way, take our advice. And I had a really wonderful Gemini woman who really helped me a lot in this area. And she said, Kathi, do you know the difference between a request and a demand? And you probably heard me say this before. No, I don't. Everything's a demand. By God, just do what I say and I'll be happy. And I'll be patient and I'll be wonderful. So, pride and patience are 2 opposite ends of the spectrum. Okay, ask me another question. Welcome everybody, if I haven't had a chance to say so to you directly. Glad to have you here. Our topic today is pride. And pride gives credit to you instead of credit to spirit for all of your accomplishments and all of your blessings. Joyce, Judy would like to know if Rod is the one walking in the living room. And somebody's a Capricorn. Is that Rod or is that Judy? Sorry to ask for so many specifics, Miss Joyce. Judy, I think Judy is the Capricorn. I need to know what sign Rod is. Is he the one walking in the living room? And that's really an interesting question, Joyce, because next week our topic is death and dying. So that would be a really good question to bring up next week. Joyce, Judy wants to know, is it Rod? If Rod was someone she loved, yes, it's not a stranger walking in the living room. It is someone she loved. Rod, same birthday as mine. Joyce, you gotta be specific. Not everybody who is watching this live and recorded it on YouTube knows what your birthday is. So, stop being so vague. Give me the specific. I know your birthday, of course, because it's the same birthday as mine. But this reading is helping other people. So we know that Judy is a Capricorn. We know that 127.40. Okay, just the sign, baby. Just the sign. Okay. So if this was somebody that Judy loved, yes, it's him. And I get that whoever this is walking through the living room, that either you or she is scared by it and fighting it. What I would recommend is that if you want him there for a reason, you have a question to ask the question, then let him go on with his life. Let him go, because you're going to learn this next week, because on the other side, we have another life. It's our body that dies, not our soul, and our soul has goals and things to do on the other side. So if he's hanging around, coffee is still working, sorry. If he's hanging around, it's probably because she has drawn him in, because she has a question to ask him. So ask. And then say, thank you for being in my life, and be on your way, and everything will be fine. When we're on the other side, our job is not to hang out with the people who miss us. Our job is to go on and do something on the other side. Okay. Wendy Foodie, Capricorn, I'm ready to lose everything. Will I be okay financially? All right, sweetheart. You know, Capricorns have this amazing ability to tap into their best assets to come back from anything. My suggestion for you, however, Miss Wendy, is go ahead, lose it. You are never going to be without. And if you are, it's for 5 seconds. You are always going to land on your feet like a cat. But what I do see is that you have a wounded heart, and that is contributing in part to what you are about to lose. Maybe you're losing a job. Maybe you're losing your housing. I don't know what it is you're losing. And it doesn't really matter, because you are never going to be without. Capricorn comes into this life and says, I have many things to accomplish and build, and with the help of my higher power, whatever your higher power is, when it's not you, whatever I need, I will be blessed by the universe, by life, by creation, by God, by Jesus, by Buddha, whatever it is you believe. And this is your opportunity to go right back into that spiritual connection. That includes prayer and meditation and gratitude. And if you can be grateful for one thing today, we're about out of time. I would like you to post it down here on your comment section. Start there. You can lose everything 5 times. You're always going to land on your feet, because you have that spiritual connection that's going to open the doors you need. You can't open the doors, but God can. All right. If you have not already subscribed, I think it's called subscribed or join or whatever it's called here on Facebook Live, do that now. And you can see all of my instructional videos over at YouTube at my channel, which is called A Godly Psychic. My website is agodlypsychic.com. My Facebook page is A Free Psychic Reading. I want to thank everybody who joined me today and asked questions. And Wendy, do not let this keep you down. It's temporary. It's a bump in the road. It feels like hell. You're going to get through this. Heal that wounded heart of yours and start focusing all your energy and attention on gratitude, and you're going to see things shift very quickly. In fact, today, okay? I love you guys. Thanks again for joining me. I'll see you next Saturday, and have a great weekend. Thank you for liking, following, subscribing, and commenting. And most of all, I thank God that He blesses your life mightily. Love you.